If there's one thing you need to know about me, ladies and gentlemen, it's that I am a Persona meat rider. But not just any Persona meat rider, ladies and gentlemen. Persona 3 in particular, okay? Now, I'm going to explain in this video why I think Persona 3 Reload will be the best game ever made. You feel me? Like, W meat rider, like, where's the glaze? It's all over my face. But before we get into that, I need to go ahead and go into my history of being a Persona fan, because one of my greatest claims to fame is that I liked Persona before a lot of people did, but not before everybody did. You know, I got into Persona with Persona 4 Golden, okay? And I'm gonna go a trip down memory lane a little bit before we get into the crux of this video, which is why Persona 3 is literally the GOAT. But how I got into Persona in general, I used to be a big fan of a YouTuber, and unfortunately that YouTuber has since passed. Rest in peace to Total Biscuit. But I used to watch his like Q&A series all the fucking time. Like, I loved that series. And on one of those videos, somebody had, and I don't know why I never forgot this in my head. It's like such a clear, vivid memory. But on one of those videos, somebody asked him like, hey, Total Biscuit, you travel a lot, right? What games do you play while you're on the plane traveling? And he mentioned that he brought his Vita with him on some recent trips, and he was absolutely in love and absorbed with this game called Persona 4 Golden. The very next day, I went to GameStop. I traded in a few games because I also had my Vita, and I loved my Vita. I still love the Vita. That's probably, in my opinion, the best handheld ever made, but we can get into that in a whole other topic, a whole other video. And I bought Persona 4 Golden. Now, chat, let me explain to you what I experienced during my Persona 4 original playthrough, okay? So first of all, I was watching Breaking Bad and playing Persona 4 Golden for the first time at the same exact time. I was experiencing double peak fiction, and like, bro, like, what is going, like, you feel me? I was really God's favorite at that time, because I believe season 5 was just about to get released, and I had heard so much about how Breaking Bad is like the best show ever, and I wanted to catch up on Breaking Bad before season 5 dropped, and then, yeah, it was peak, okay? But I was also playing Persona 4 while watching Breaking Bad, and I absolutely fell in love with Persona 4 Golden. From the cast members to the story, the combat, everything absolutely engrossed me into that world. And I didn't even realize how deep the Persona fandom went, and how deep the Persona mechanics even are. Like, I didn't even really do that much Persona fusing. I played on like an easy difficulty. Like, I literally used Izanagi to like all the way to the end, and I barely upgraded Izanagi either. So like, that's how like new I was, you know? I got like Risei to Social Link 10 because I was like, need that. But you feel me? Like, I didn't do a lot of the social links. I just did the characters that I really enjoyed and didn't really think too much of it, right? Well, since then, or since that time, I had played a lot of other Persona games. I went back and played Persona 3, but I didn't beat Persona 3. And, you know, I just really ended up loving the series from there. And then it wasn't until a few years later where I played Persona 3 Portable for the very first time on my PSP, and that's when I witnessed what peak fiction could actually be, okay? Now, I love Persona 4, I love Persona 3, and I love Persona 5. In my opinion, each one of these games is a masterpiece in its own right. However, I do believe that Persona 3 is the best of them all, and now I'm going to explain why I feel that way. So, first and foremost, it's important to note that Persona 5 is a difficult game to talk about because it advances the series in terms of its mechanics in such a way to where the older games can be very hard for people to go back to. And I understand that because Persona 5 is a lot more modernized, and it has a lot more quality of life features that feels like way easier to get into, and honestly just way more fun as well. Like the baton pass system, The fact that you got like the little guns and all that shit. Like there's just so much to Persona 5 that elevates the series. But for me personally, the thing that I always loved about Persona was not necessarily like the combat aspect. I've grown an appreciation for that later on in my life, but I really loved Persona for the stories, the characters and their relationships and all that. I feel like that is the crux of Persona. And when you consider that, I believe Persona 3 is not only the best in the series, I think it like washes the rest of the series. I think the cast is the best. I think the story is the best. I think the tone is the best. I don't think there's very many things that the other Persona games do better than Persona 3. Like Persona 5 masters the combat and the gameplay and the dungeon crawling aspect and all that stuff. It's the best in terms of that. Persona 4 might do best in terms of like creating that camaraderie and feeling like you're in like a high school friend group where it's like, it feels like you're almost in a slice of life anime, you know what I'm saying? And Persona 4 excels in that aspect and even has a lot of like really dope moments where like you have to face yourself and face the parts of yourself that you're like ashamed of or don't want anybody to know about, but that's still you, And I feel like that's another dope, really deep aspect. But Persona 3 has some of that and more. Persona 3's themes fall on loss and tragedy and trauma. And I feel like that to me just hits a lot more. Let's talk about one of the biggest gripes about Persona 3 and why I like low-key think it's like a good thing. Low-key. So one of the biggest gripes about Persona 3, just Persona 3 the original, is that you don't get to get social links with your party for a very long time. Like, and they come at different moments in the story. Like, at some point in the story, you'll be able to get your social link up with Yukari, and then Mitsuru comes later, and then, you get Akihiko and Junpei and all that stuff. And a lot of people don't like how you're sort of gated off from connecting with your classmates and connecting with your party mates until way later on in the game. However, I think that's a good thing because it makes each character in Persona 3 their own character, right? And what I mean by that is that in the other Persona games, it really feels like that if the main cast weren't all connected by the main character, like none of them would fucking exist. You feel me? Like none of them would like be friends. Like they wouldn't have a fucking life. You know what I mean? It just doesn't feel as organic. They don't feel as like characters that are interacting with the rest of the world without the MC. And I feel like Persona 3 does a really good job at creating these characters that live their own life, and then eventually they let you into their lives. Kind of like how real relationships work, right? Like you're gonna have to build that trust. They're gonna have to get to know you a little bit more. They're gonna have to process things on their own first, Like I think a lot of people will process trauma, will process loss by themselves first, and then go to other people for help, right? So that's what I feel like Persona 3 does really well. Every character will have this crux of their character, or this apex rather, of their character arc that happens randomly throughout the game. Not randomly, but it's obviously scripted, but it'll happen at some point throughout the game. And then once they hit their like critical mass, their turning point as a character, that's when you can start interacting with them and getting their social link up. And I think that's so dope. It really helps the entire party feel like their own characters. One of the things that always bothered me about Persona is the best friend character. Okay, now I don't know how people are gonna feel about this in particular, but you have Yosuke and Ryuji, okay? Now, I think Ryuji is much better than Yosuke as a character, but there's like an aspect to them that's almost like, you fucking dimwit bitch. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, we'll be out in public You know what I'm saying? We're just literally in the mall parking lot, and Ryuji's like, oh man, like, whoa, it was really crazy being a Phantom Thief last night, wasn't it? Like, gee willikers, like being a Phantom Thief is so hard. And it's like, my brother, like, relax. There's people around, you feel me? And like, yeah, it's a game. Like, who cares? It's not based in reality or whatever. But it's like a little bit immersion breaking to hear that shit. Junpei, in my opinion, it really feels like Junpei was written after Yosuke and Ryuji, because it feels like it starts off and you think Junpei is gonna be like a Yosuke or Ryuji type character, and then he's not. And then he goes through his own character arc. He goes through his own trauma, his own trials, his own tribulations, his own sadness, his own depression. You know what I mean? And he evolves and blossoms into the best friend character in the Persona series. Well, I haven't played Persona 2 and 1, so I can't really speak on that. Persona 3 started with 3, we all know that. And I think that is that's like such a welcome change. And I say it's a change, but really they changed from that to giving you the Junpei and Ryuji archetype. But I feel like a lot of people are going to be really pleased with Junpei's character in this game. If you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? And then also, we talk about characters like Akihiko, right? And I think Akihiko is a fan favorite. Shout out my boy Sayu. Shout out my boy Alejandro Saab. Hey, that's my boy. I know him. I know. That's my friend. I know him. You know what I'm saying? So, and he's voicing Akihiko. So like that shit is dope to me. Just off of that aspect alone. But Akihiko's always been one of my favorite characters. Do the OG Kagi intro. What was he? What up, everybody? My name is Alejandro Saab, Kagmaster, Kagi Films, or whatever the fuck you want to call me. That's what he said, right, or some shit. But anyways, so shout out to him getting in my opinion, the role of a lifetime. Akihiko's one of the best anime characters, one of the best video game characters of all time, and he's voicing them. So to me, that's like double the trouble. But Akihiko, is another dope character who, like, at first, you feel like he's just like a meathead, like a very reserved, laid back kind of guy. But then again, he goes through his own deep personal trauma. Whoops, wrong button. Personal trauma. And then he goes through things, and then he starts to open up more. And it's like, oh my God. Like, all these characters have like such a layer of depth to them that you never thought you were going to get, right? And then even like Yukari and Mitsuru, they actually have almost like an intertwining path together that like you just don't see happen in the newer Persona games. The closest thing would, I guess, be something like Kanji and Naoto, but that not really, because their intertwining paths happen in the context of the story of the game. Whereas like Yukari and Mitsuru like legit have lore to their backstory. And I'm not gonna get into spoilers just in case Persona 3 Reload will be your first time playing, but there's like real like drama there, like no bullshit, like it's like legit drama, you feel me? But then, you have to get into a point where it's like, okay, like you have to get into a point of forgiveness, you have to get to a point of like, oh shit, like this person really had nothing to do with that at the end of the day. Why am I harboring this hatred type shit? You know what I'm saying? And you see all this happen through people's like experience with loss and grief, right? And I think that shit is just fire. And I think that shit is just dope. And then we get on to like what I would consider to be what is considered the biggest con of Persona 3. And that's going to be like the gameplay segments, okay? So a lot of people really hate on the Tartarus, and I see why. The Tartarus is sort of laid out like the mementos in Persona 5. So, but that's like the main dungeon of the game. Like, how in Persona 4, you have like the palaces that are all themed around the person's like, hidden desires. And then you have Persona 5, which is the palaces. Did I call Persona 4 palaces? I meant they're dungeons. And then the Persona 5 is the palaces with everybody's like twisted, morbid view on the world and how they view other people and how they view themselves and all that shit. And like, it feels a little bit more themed and it feels like better that way. But then the Tartarus is really just like bland hallways full of shadows. And like, that's pretty much it. And that's like the biggest negative that I see to Persona 3. And that won't change in Persona 3 Reload, unless they do a massive change to the Tartarus, which I don't think they're doing. And if they are doing, they haven't announced it. So, I mean, I don't really know. But what will change is the gameplay. So in Persona 3, in FES, you could not control your party members, but then in the portable version, you could control your party members. But then the portable version doesn't have cutscenes and doesn't have the extra content that FES has. But then, you know, FES has that stuff, but then you can't control your party members. And it's always been like a headache of like, okay, now which one do I fucking play? But luckily in Persona 3 Reload, you can control your party members. And it looks like Persona 3 Reload is going to have a lot more of those quality of life features that Persona 5 had. So now I feel like the gameplay element of Persona 3, that's gonna be even less of a barrier to entry for Persona 3 than ever before. So you're gonna take what I would consider to be the best characters and the best cast in the series and now update the gameplay to be on the level of Persona 5. I mean, you're really making the best game like ever made, in my opinion. And then we get the story that I haven't even talked about. The story in Persona 3 is a very interesting story. I think the biggest negative of Persona 3 is the antagonists, because I feel like the antagonists didn't really hit like that. Like, what is it called? Strega or some shit, right? Like, I beat Persona 3 like 3 times and I still don't even remember their fucking name. Like, Strega is fucking ass. Like, it just is. Like, you know, there's no way around it. Like, I think the antagonists in Persona 4 and 5 are way more interesting. But to me, again, it's not really about the actual like narrative or the antagonist of the story. It's more so what all of those individual things represent that I really, really liked in Persona 3. I feel like Persona 3 is a lot more of a symbolic, metaphorical type of game, whereas the other games might be like a tad bit more literal. And that's why I love Persona 3 so much, is because you have that sort of, it leaves it more so up to your interpretation. And I think that shit is dope. So yeah, the main villain or the bad guy or whatever isn't the best, but on the way to get there, each of the characters goes through so much that it ends up making it better. To me, I've always liked characters over story, right? If you have cool characters and dope character moments, that will make me like fall in love with that medium or that story or whatever way more than like a really solid story. For example, like one of my favorite anime of all time is Bleach. Now, Bleach doesn't necessarily break the mold in terms of like storytelling or having like, you know, really deep, intricate stories to tell or whatever. You know, it's no like Hunter x Hunter in that regard. But what Bleach does have is the most fucking badass, coolest cast of characters in an anime ever, okay? You go fuck your uncle about it. So to me, that's, you know, I'm jacked in. I'm locked in. Because to me, that shit is gas. And I would love to see those characters do fucking anything. I don't give a shit. You want Ichigo to go walk a dog? I'm watching that episode. I don't care. Ichigo's fucking cool. You want fucking Toshido Hitsugaya trying to get the new knee surgery so he can get 4 inches taller? I'm watching that episode. I don't care. I'll watch a whole damn OVA on it. I don't care. I'll go to the theaters. I'll be sat watching the movie. It is what it is. And I feel like that's what Persona 3 does really well, is those stories. Now, I had a couple people in the chat. I'm not ignoring you, chat. I'm reading everything you're saying, but I'm trying to keep this video sort of concise and on topic. You know me, I'm a little bit of a rambler. Let's switch the song up real quick. Hey. Anyways, so people were asking me about the answer, okay? Look, I love Persona 3 as much as the next guy, okay? I love Persona 3 so much. The answer is some dog shit, okay? The answer, it fucking sucks, okay? The answer fucking sucks. It's too grindy, too bullshit, ruins the story, And most importantly, it fucking murders Yukari's character, in my opinion. Now, if you guys want me to talk about that in another video, I'll gladly shit on the answer for an entire fucking video. However, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. So I'm not going to get into that, but the answer, it fucking stinks. The good part, though, about Persona 3 Reload is that at least we're getting the additional content featuring, like, Aegis and stuff like that. So we are getting some FES content in Persona 3 Reload, but if I never have to see anything from the answer ever again, I'll be a fucking happy man, okay? As far as I'm concerned, the answer is not canon. That shit did not happen. As far as I'm concerned, a group of terrorists, a group of thugs, of hackers, hacked Atlas, developed a mod of Persona 3, and extorted them into releasing it on the PS2 disc version of P3 FES. And that's what I'm deciding to believe is the truth. That shit never happened. The answer never fucking happened. That shit is some bullshit, it's some dog shit. If for whatever reason they end up making a DLC for Persona 3 Reload and like they try to sell you the answer, hey, listen to me and listen to me good, bro. Do not buy that shit. Don't do it. It's bad. I'm not joking. I think Persona 3 is one of the best games of all time, but the answer straight up stinks. The answer is the worst Persona content I've ever consumed, okay? But now that I'm done glazing Persona 3, I'm gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about why Persona 5 let me down a lot. I could make this a whole separate video, but I'm just gonna tack it onto the end here. And if you guys want me to go more in depth about why I hate Persona 5, you know, I'll gladly do that. I don't actually hate Persona 5. I love Persona 5. I think Persona 5 is a masterpiece, but I have some gripes with it. And the number one gripe being that they didn't stick to their fucking guns in that game, bro. Like, when that game starts out and you have Kamoshida, like, literally being a pedophile and, like, assaulting the students or whatever, and then you get Shiho fucking doing a 5-star frog splash off the top of the school building, like, that sets a tone of, like, oh my god, this is gonna be, like, the darkest Persona game ever made. Like, oh my god, this is going to be insanity. And then they pussy around it. You know, I feel like they didn't add on to the darkness there. There's dark themes in the game, but I feel like the game doesn't, it comes at them with a more like lighthearted approach to it. And I don't like the way that they did that. You know, I feel like the next time the game got really dark like that was with the Futaba Palace. And the Futaba Palace is a highlight for a lot of people because of that. But then outside of that, it kind of like didn't get to those levels ever again, in my opinion. And another thing about Persona 5 is that the main story, the main like narrative of the game, I think is probably the best between 3, 4, and 5, especially with Royal. But a lot of the mystery around Persona 5 really gets washed away after the first playthrough. And this is sort of like a problem with mystery games in general, or mystery stories in general, is that once you know the mystery, it's really hard to keep people interested on replays or rewatches of that, right? So like when you're playing Persona 5 again and you know how the story unravels, you get a little bit detached from it. And I don't know what it is about Persona 5 in particular. Maybe it's the amount of hand-holding that Persona 5 does. I don't know what it is, but I feel like Persona 5 is like the worst Persona game to replay. Wait, the beginning of Persona 4 really sucks though. The beginning of Persona 4 is really slow, but so is Persona 5. I feel like Persona 5, like, it just doesn't feel good to replay that game, to me anyways. But I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't know. Chat, how do you guys feel? What is your favorite Persona game? Are y'all Persona 5ers? Are y'all 4ers? Are y'all 3ers? Or maybe there's some 2ers in the chat. I don't know. Like, what y'all rocking with? P3 FES? That's a Giga Chat answer right there. 3ers, Persona 4. You know, I feel like a lot of times people's favorite Persona game will end up being the first one they played. Unless you're me, and I'm a Giga Chat, so Persona 3 is my favorite. I actually fuck with P2. P2 seems really interesting. That game is just really dated, though. That one is like legitimately hard to go back to, I think. 5 combat and Persona Fusion is the best, but 3 story and characters. That's why Persona 3 Reload finna be the best game ever, though. That's why Persona 3 Reload finna be the best game ever, though, because you take in a lot of the Persona 5 combat and giving it to Persona 3. Oh, we in for some peak fiction. Oh, we genuinely in for some peak fiction. I stopped playing Persona 3 Portable because of Reload. I hope you didn't get too far. Haram Persona the answer actually based as fuck. Persona, yes, the answer is fucking haram. But yeah, man. Anyways, that's what I think about Persona 3 Reload. I think this is gonna be the best game of all time, no BS. And if you enjoyed this video, pull up to my Twitch channel. We do discussions like this shit all the time, and some of them don't even get uploaded to this YouTube channel. So you're gonna make sure you wanna lock it in here. And if you're excited for Persona 3 Reload, you're definitely gonna wanna follow me on Twitch, because we will be playing that the millisecond it comes out. So you're gonna have to lock in there, boys. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you guys like, leave a comment about what you thought, what's your favorite Persona game, and make sure you subscribe up for more discussions and shit like that. Okay, bye!